actively looking for roles all around. And I thought this was one of the interesting role to just apply. And as it is in startup company, it would give me more knowledge. And previously also I worked with a startup, so I felt it'll be more useful for me.
Got it.
Right.
I believe you are in North Carolina, right?
Yes, yes,
And will you be open to relocate if
yes,
the position?
yes.
Okay, cool. So let me tell you a little bit about what we are looking for. So as part of our architecture, I'm not sure if you look what Pantoma is. Anyway, we build like a data observability. We are a data observability product.
Okay.
So basically, what we do is like a in our part of our architecture. So we have a concept called connectors that, as the name says, connects to the different data platforms. So imagine Power BI, Snowflake, and platforms like that.
Okay.
We get extract what is called metadata.
Okay.
And based on that, we produce like an end-to-end lineage for the applications.
Okay.
So meaning that we can show the customer how the data is flowing across the system. So if a customer has, let's say, a pipeline that starts in SQL Server, and we have an ETL process running in Informatica or Fivetran or any of our connectors, and then in a Power BI report. So basically, we can show like that type of lineage, and we are also monitoring like a different issues.
Okay.
And we are in real time. We can figure out there is an issue in this ETL, so we can tell the downstream impact that the error could have. So let's say that there is an ETL that is moving data to three different reports or different tables.
Okay.
So we can say, like, hey, this is impacting these tables, and these tables are feeding these reports. And we do it in real time, so data engineers can take a look to Pantomat and see exactly where the error happened, when happened, and what is the impact. So
I think basically
that's
it's like an application where you can see everything in one place instead of going onto a multiple platforms and just checking what the error is. So because I got a clear clarity because my previous one was also on Business. It was the whole platform. It was also an application from end to end. It's the same. So I think I got to what you are actually the how Pantomat.
that's cool. So yeah, so basically for that, so we have a component called connectors.
Okay.
So connectors is a very challenging application because we have like a different, right now we have around 30 connectors across our stack, and we will continue increasing that stack. We are going to plug into more and more connectors. So basically, the needs in terms of QA automations are always growing in the sense of how we make testing easier, more automated. Potentially, like how we move some of the testing to maybe to the left and provide developers like a framework to say, okay, we are if you have this integration test within your code, so maybe we just don't need to do like an end-to-end regression. So basically having like a proper testing strategy. So I have a QA that is super strong in terms of testing. He comes from a development background.
Okay.
So he has done fantastic on setting up some of those frameworks, but he's only one person. So we have around 16 people, one QA. We just hired 3 QAs more, well, four QAs more, but we want somebody senior to work alongside to him to continue evolving our automation framework and continue evolving our testing tools. So look into opportunities, how we leverage AI in testing. So basically, of different type of tools. Um, so that's basically kind of a high level of what we are looking for a senior QA. So can you tell me a little bit maybe about from your experience and what things do you feel you could help to the task?
So it's like I could tell you like this. Like I have around 6+ years of experience. So,
Mhm.
as working as an QA, like a QA analyst or like a tester. So I have like when it comes to like different mobile testing or anything, I have good knowledge with APM, which has been my go-to tool. So I have a deep exposure to API testing also, like using Postman and Ready API. I'm very comfortable integrating these tests into CI/CD pipelines, also like using Jenkins and Azure DevOps to like enable continuous testing. And one of my strength is backend data validation. So I have a strong background in validating stored procedures, views, and data transformation also. I'm also proficient in writing advanced SQL queries across different databases environment like Oracle, SQL Server, and Postgres also, like Postgres SQL also. So I also gained significant experience in like ETL and SSIS testing also, as well as in BI like BI tool validation such as like Power BI, Tableau, and SSRS. Like in one of my most recent role, like the in the previous business, I was a quality assurance tester where I designed and executed around like 300 manual and automated test cases for web and also like mobile application, like using Azure DevOps. Like I'm particularly proud of my automation, like automation, which is 70% of API regression scenarios, which I did, like using Ready API and Groovy scripts also, like which significantly improved our ability to detect issues early through different runs and everything, like when we integrated with Jenkins. I could also say I also collaborated clearly with like different engineers, developers, to get the a good to show a progress. Like I created a Python framework which was integrated with HTML and UI, so that which streamlined our testing process by allowing the I could say by allowing our testers to upload just the Excel test cases, and then it was integrated with the Flask and everything. So it could trigger the backend logic and auto generate the reports, like ultimately eliminating the manual steps, like full for a full cycle regression automation. So before that, I also worked with TechSky, which is the client was PIA. So I led
Mhm.
end-to-end mobile automation, like initiatives using APM for both Android and iOS platform. I developed like reusable scripts for various functionalities like different flows, push notifications, and biometric authentication also. And I also
Mhm.
integrated them into like basically Jenkins CI pipelines for consistent execution. I also worked extensively with Cucumber and Jenkins to design and execute BTD scenarios, like which really helped build a gap between business logic and automated validations.
Mhm.
So early in my career, I also worked with Virinci Technologies, where I focused mainly on where it was my business analyst role, but I focused mainly on Selenium automation and all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yes, I watched your previous company, Biznuo.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. So it's not necessarily the same use case that we are solving, but it's a close scenario to our data pipelines. So from data platforms perspective, how deep do you go to learn some of those platforms? So you mentioned, I believe you mentioned in your resume that you have like a Power BI and maybe others type of tools. So were you using these tools to set up test cases and things like that, or?
So so basically, I'm actually responsible setting up the various kind of stages in like previous company. So a lot of QA work wasn't about validating front end and architecture. When I joined, I realized that pipelines were also quite different from my past experience. Instead, just transactional databases, we were dealing with multiple stages, raw data and transformation in the ETL workforces, and also final data presentation through BI tools and Power BI also. And not only like I shadowed our data, like I had our data engineers during their ETL run, walked through the SSIS and Informatica mappings and practice querying, like staging tables in SQL Server and also PostgreSQL also. And by comparing data across each by comparing data across each stage, I could say I spent some extra, like I couldn't understand where transformation was happening and whether the business rules are applied or not. So I spent some extra time where Power BI and other Tableau, just I could say I went through all the different platforms and get to know about them, and then actually know what actually happening over there. So what is the problem regarding that? And then, so in this case, this allowed me to like create my own QA specific like Power BI, like how DATS measures are built and how filters are impacted, how they are impacting the aggregated results. So in this way, I actually created my own QA specific Power BI. And apart from that, also on the customized staging tables for like defect trends, and also even compare the expected in the actual detail output, like the reason I use these tools to set up the stage like in a very simpler way. So this gave me a visibility into the end-to-end flow with Power BI, and I could validate the final metrics on the report matched what was the database after transformation. This only not only got it could match earlier, but also helped me verify the QA and work on specific for our like our data and all the way to this like for the decision making on the dashboards. And also I walked through a like this is how like this is how I worked helping my testers or in my QA environment in the previous project.
Gotcha. In terms of language that you use in your QA automation tools, so you highlight in your resume C Sharp, SQL, and HTML. Are those the language that where you have certain domain?
So I could say like this. I used for data validations and all. I used SQL very much for store procedures use and all. And for the framework setting up and all, I used to use like Java. And according to the requirement, I used to use different languages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gotcha. Cool. Do you have questions for me?
Uh, what actually are you guys expecting from the candidate? That's what I was only having. So, but I got to know that you guys are expecting senior QA.
Mhm.
What more? So when can I hear back or something? Anything about the position?
I think next week, my QA he's on vacation this week.
Mm.
Well, anyway, it's Friday. So yeah, once I got to him, so you will hear back from us.
Okay. And also want to know the team culture and also how the team works on like basically about the everything. That's what I want.
Yeah. I mean, we are in a startup.
Okay.
So as a startup, everything you hear from the startups is true. It's very hard. It's a very fast-paced environment. I believe your company was a startup as
It
well.
was a startup, and it's the best place to learn and innovate your ideas. I feel I personally experienced, so that's what I feel.
Yes. Um, so it's very good. I mean, the people here is very open. They collaborate pretty well, and I really enjoy to work with everybody in here. So there is a lot of collaboration, definitely hard work, and but I felt you have that experience on your previous one. So I think it's a good environment to be. It's fast paced, so it's a lot of learning, especially in the position I tell you about connectors. There is like a lot going on because we are all the time enhancing our connectors, creating new ones. So it's very challenging every time we have a new client, every time we do a new connector. So obviously it can be chaotic sometimes, but in general, it's a very good place.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's all
Yeah.
from my side.
Just out of curiosity, do you need a sponsorship for H1B or?
Yeah, in